Alright guys, so Fula coming to you with another video. Shout out to the whole LDBC. Make sure you guys download the app, Binds and Boxing Channels app, or go ahead and sign up to the website, get a free profile, or do both. And you can go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you choose to. But anyhow, I was reading this article, and I really think that this stance needs to be taken because of the simple fact that it's happening too often, and the powers that be are trying to normalize these behaviors. And so what I'm talking about is an article in which I read about Nigeria actually seeking the death penalty for rapists and pedophiles. To be honest, I kind of agree. Not kind of agree. I do agree with actually doing this. A lot of people are going to think that I'm a barbarian and that I'm savage, but at the end of the day, preventive measures need to be taken in order to stop these kind of activities, and I think that the death penalty will be a big preventative measure in order to stop this. And here's the thing, like when you look at like the climate of America in regards to how they deal with pedophiles, higher up officials in America are, now getting caught like with pedophiles, like with pedophilia. Doctors at USC are getting caught groping and, touching students and stuff like that. You got senators and, of course, the popes and whatnot getting caught for pedophilia. And, you have also some higher senators here actually justifying it, saying that it's a normal thing. You have some senators here saying that actually, pedophilia is actually something that's normal, man. And that it's, it's in the human makeup. And quiet as it's kept, man, they're trying to pass laws to lower the age of consent, too, And so in Nigeria, they want to do the death penalty for rapists and pedophiles. And again, I say I agree with it. Because the reason why I agree with it, for one, you psychologically damage. You basically, in the word of words, you basically tarnish a whole generation. And the reason I say that is because that child is not going to be normal after such an encounter. They're going to have psychological issues most of the time. And they're going to have trouble like dealing with, those kind of things, for the simple fact that, someone was forced on them, and it was out of their control. And then you have to consider the fact that, these kids start off, pure most of the time. But then, having pedophilia and being victims of rape, it usually leads to other things. Like, it leads to them sometimes, most of the time, not having respect for each other, like themselves, Like, I'll give you a perfect example. That one girl, which one call it? What's her name? Karen Steffens, and they called her a Superhead. You know, I mean, because she was getting passed around so much, that that's the moniker she got. But the reason, I mean, part of that was that she was molested, raped as a little kid, and that's not a one-off tale. There's many women who go through that. Now, let me read the article more. It says members of upper legislative chambers have agreed to take decisive action against rapists and pedophiles in Nigeria. The lawmaker said that the death penalty for rapists will put an end to incessant rape cases in the country. Senate also urged the police to deal decisively with all cases of sexual abuse as a way to stem the tide of sexual abuses. Nigeria's Senate has the application of death penalty to rapists will go a long way to curtail the rising wave of rape and defilement of minors in the country. The Nation reports that apart from resolving death penalty for offenders, the lawmakers underscored the necessity to review relevant laws as well as open registers for rape offenders across the land. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion on increasing cases of rape, sponsored by a senator representing Cross Rivers North, Senator Rose Oko, who asked the Red Chamber to take the lead by reviewing existing laws to discourage the trend. Senator Oko called attention to several alleged rape cases, including the one alleged by the pastor of Commonwealth and Zion Assembly, Bayodun Fatuyumbu. She said the trend has become worrisome and became a national problem that should worry the Senate. In his comment, Senator George Thompson Sekibu noted that prescribing the death penalty for offenders would not only serve as deterrent but ensure justice. And I completely agree. Like, I mean, because, as you see here, it's not even the Muslims who are saying death penalty, These are just the secular people who are saying that, the death penalty should be applied. And, what that tells me is that Africa, they're still trying to maintain a sense of culture. They are trying to preserve our culture. Because I'm gonna be real with you, in my native tongue, there wasn't even a word for rape. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We never even had a word for that, And, I'm just saying, like, by the current climate that we're in right now, especially here in the West, it's encouraging it, even with the Me Too movement and whatnot. I mean, it's still becoming like normalized a lot of the time. Especially with the pedophilia thing, you will be surprised, who is coming out and normalizing it. And, this is another reason why, and, I hate to revert back to him, but this is the reason why, in some of my videos, I go so hard at the quote-unquote conscious community, because you have creeps like Nature Boy, you have creeps like King Noble, you have creeps like this guy named Yakin or something like that, who are normalizing pedophilia and stuff like that, and who want to just like partake in pedophilia, and so it's a good thing that Nature Boys Camp didn't go to Africa, because, they would have had to deal with this if they touched down in Nigeria. You know, they definitely would have had a lot of problems, if they would have had the audacity to come their ass to Africa. They definitely would have got packed out, point blank period. And so, let's continue the article. So the Senator Sakibu said, when an abuse of such a situation takes place, let the parents report the issue to the police, or you come to the Senate. I learned that when a rape case takes place, the private parts should not be washed. They should go to the hospital and take the sample. To abuse a child of 6 months is evil. No religion will take it. We should make it a death penalty. By the time you kill two people, people who would have learned, and they will stop it. And I hope to God they would, because if they keep on doing it, then shoot, there's going to be a lot of sad family members. When you report a case to the police, they treat it as if it is ordinary. Lecturers carry out sex for marks. I want to see, that's another problem. You see that shit right there? What they mean by lecturers carry out sex for marks, that means that some teachers be like, okay, what can you do for me? And they have students do that, basically, And so that's, I'm sorry to say it, but shit, that's Nature Boy and all these other conscious Negroes in a nutshell, basically. That's pretty much it. And he goes on to say, I want to encourage the sponsor of the motion to go ahead and come up with the amendments to deal with this barbaric act. The lawmaker representing Lagos Central, Senator Olurimbi Tinubu, who was alarmed about the increasing rate of the defilement of minors, urged parents to take steps to educate their children on sexual awareness. She said, the issue is very controversial and scary. As a mother, if our children were the ones violated, we should know what would have happened if we look at society at large. We have not done anything. Children are the most vulnerable group. Whoever's involved in acts like these should face death. I think rape of a minor deserves a death sentence. This is what we need to do to stop this madness. When on contrary, in the United States, if you sell drugs, or I'm not encouraging selling drugs. Don't think I'm encouraging or telling people to sell drugs, but if you sell drugs or something like that, or have a non-violent offense, you will get more time than a rapist, and you will get treated worse than a rapist. I mean, honestly, rapists have an easier time being accepted into society than someone who said was out moving keys. And he said he has to protect these countries, the country too. And Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi urged relevant agencies to establish a register for offenders. The Niger North Senator said opening a register for sex offenders will go a long way to discourage this act. He said, when these offenses are committed, what happens? The lack of stiffer punishment is a major issue we must look at. From the cited examples, we must make progress. It is time for us to look at our laws and put sex or rape offenders on a register anywhere in the country. The psychological effects can't be understood. Some adults behaving in certain manners are victims of these acts when they were minors. Exactly. That's what it is, you know. And that's what you see with Nature Boy. A nigga talks about how he was done up as a minor, you know. Yeah, but anyhow, yeah, my opinion is, my opinion is, yeah, put the death penalty in effect for these sickos, you know. They shouldn't get any compassion because they didn't have no compassion when they decided to lay up or violate a little girl, you know, who's innocent, you know. So this is why I'm saying that I'm 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 all for it, you know, because it's just ridiculous, you know, what things they're trying to normalize, you know. And my uncle, who's in Nigeria right now, said he welcomes it too. He wants the same thing in play, you know, because if you have it in play, man, it'll people would think twice, you know, about doing that. It's not part of our culture. You know, rape is not part of our culture, but unfortunately it's found its way into our culture, you know, although it's very foreign, you know. But anyhow, you know, let's see what happens. Let's see if they put this in effect, and let's see by Nigeria putting it into effect, will it spread to the rest of the region, you know, to neighboring states as well, you know. But of course, I know they're going to face some opposition from people like Trump and all them other people. I know that's going to come soon. Trust and believe. I know that it's coming. It's coming soon. Believe it. You know, it's coming soon. If they put this into effect, they're gonna have to deal with uh, Donald Trump and Europeans as well. You know, I'm already knowing. But anyhow, leave your thoughts and let me think. And let me think if you think it's a good idea to implement this implement this law, you know. Full of signing out. And job on